high European level, certainly.
Eddie Hearn's come out and said he doesn't think there's any interest in Liam Smith fighting Conor Benn. What are your thoughts? If that, any mileage in that or not? Do you think it's something the boxing public would want to see?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a fight that interests me. I think if Conor Benn is going to come back, he has to be against 147 guys. I just think he's too small for middleweight, really.
So you got your last pound coin in your pocket, Sean, a bit where I am, to be honest, and you had to place it on who Liam Smith fights next. Where would you put it?
I think Golovkin at the moment, the way all the talk is about.
Really, you think Golovkin? People are saying that's a mismatch, aren't they? But I'm not so sure, Sean.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, certainly it was. But I think how Golovkin's looked recently and his agent as well, I would probably say it's a 50-50 fight these days.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. But obviously, Liam deserves a few paydays now, don't he?
Yeah.
I personally think it will be the rematch with Eubank because I think Eubank's got nowhere else to go. To be honest with you, so I think that'll happen. So that's my money.
Yeah.
So moving on. So this is gathering some momentum on a lot of fan boards. So I thought I'd bring it up tonight. I think it's a bit harsh, to be honest with you. He's only 31. But Sean, what do you think about people saying Joe Parker should retire on the back of that performance against Massa?
Yeah, I can see why people are saying that because he didn't look great, but then again he was coming off a bad loss against Joyce, so I think he probably deserved a fight like that to come back. I think the proof will be in the pudding who he fights next, and then we'll have to reassess him from there. I think.
There is some fights out there, though, isn't it? There's a Dillian White's of this world. Derek Chisora if he wants to jump in, but I think he's in danger of becoming a gatekeeper, isn't he, if he's not careful.
Yeah, I mean, even the Andy Ruiz rematch, I think that's an interesting fight as well. So there's certainly fights out there for him. It just depends if he can be motivated and recapture what he once had, I guess.
Do you think he looks back on Saturday? He's got some regrets that he didn't put it on him.
Yeah, I certainly think so, and as well with Massey, obviously he was stepping up for the first time. So I guess from Parker's point of view, he wanted just to get back in there and shake the rust off. But I think in terms of putting his name out there for the heavyweights, I don't think he's done himself any favours.
There is a suggestion, though, Sean, that he might be playing possum a little bit. I don't buy into that one little bit, but there has been suggestions made to me on Twitter that maybe he didn't put his foot down because he wants to get that big fight in the heavyweight division. So people might think he's a soft touch now and jump in with him. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, there's two ways to look at that, I guess. I mean, obviously that could be a possibility, but again, if he wants big fights, people aren't going to shout his name after stinking a place out like that. So if he come off a highlight reel win, and then I guess more people would be inclined to fight him because that would be a pay-per-view event and whatnot.
So I don't know if Andy's froze or are you there, Andy? I know you gave me a stick in the past for arriving late, but you're taking the biscuit there. So you're on mute as well at the minute. We'll just give you a minute to sort yourself out. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yep. So, hello? Can you hear us okay? He's having one, Sean.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so we just touched on some of the comments that are being made on some fan boards around the social media around calling for Joe Parker to retire, Andy, on the back of that performance against Massey at the weekend. What are your thoughts? Well, he's either deliberating or he's frozen. So I think it's a little bit harsh, Sean, to be honest with you. I think there's plenty of fights out there for him. So I think I don't buy into that he was playing possum. I think that was his performance. Now, the only other argument, did he want to get rounds in the bank, Sean?
Yeah, maybe, but you know the opponent he had, as we already mentioned, is coming up from cruiserweight. So I guess for Parker, it's a double-edged sword in that regard. But you know, he's as you say, he's only early 30s, but he's obviously made all the money that he's made so far. But I guess for him, it's a thing of pride, and I guess he wouldn't want to go out on the performance like that. He would want to sort of lose to someone like Joyce again, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next topic then, Sean. So we're moving on to Canelo. So Eddie Hearn's come out and said that it's almost a done deal that Canelo will be fighting Bivol in September. He also said he's in camp for a May the 6th fight like he traditionally does. It can't be John Ryder in May, can it, Sean? Surely it can't be John Ryder. Give us your thoughts.
I'm not sure because I've seen sort of conflicting reports on this. Some are saying he could fight over here in May against John Ryder, and other things I've seen it could be in the Far East as well. So I guess if it's in one of those two markets, that sort of almost negates the Cinco de Mayo weekend it being over here. So if that's the case, I think it probably would be John Ryder. But I really don't know any American fighters he could fight in America at super middleweight at this stage.
No. It's true. It's not exactly blessed, that super middleweight division, is it?
No. No.
And I guess he comes over to fight the Emirates, I'm being told, as well, to fight Ryder. Does good numbers, good payday for Canelo. And I suppose he's jumped in with the likes of Rocky Fielding in the past, hasn't he? So, yeah, so interesting. Good evening.
Evening. How are we
How you
doing,
going,
guys?
Lee?
Not bad, you?
Not bad. So we're just picking up regarding Canelo that Eddie Hearn said that obviously September looks like Bivol, and that Canelo's back in camp ready to start planning for his May the 6th fight. And I was just saying, surely it can't be John Ryder, can it, for Cinco de Mayo?
I think it will be. I do think it will be, but I'll tell you who I think it should be. I think from Eddie Hearn's point of view, from a Canelo point of view, and certainly from the fighter's point of view, I think if you're going to fight Bivol next, you want to sort of fight someone similar weight, and I'm not saying similar ability because he hasn't been proven yet, but I think Joshua Buatsi would make sense. I think that'd be a great fight for everyone concerned. It's easy to do. Joshua Buatsi would jump at it. It's a perfect warm up to Bivol.
So you're bringing Buatsi down to 168?
I think I maybe fight at catchweight, maybe, because I think
he's a big lad for 168 into Buatsi.
We don't know what weight they're going to fight at, though, do we yet, Canelo? And
yeah, I personally think it'll be 168, Lee.
I think it will, because I think they're going to try and tip the scales in Canelo's favour, which I'm not very happy about, to be honest. But
and in the sidebar, Joe concurs with you. He said fighting Ryder doesn't get you ready for Bivol, and I agree. I'm not sure who does, because I'm not sure Buatsi's anyway. I don't think there's anyone near the level of Bivol, to be honest with you.
No, but I think Buatsi's a good shout before, in my opinion. I think that would make a lot more sense than the John Ryder. But don't get me wrong, John Ryder's earned that Canelo payday, but I'd much rather see him fight Buatsi.
Right, let me just test Andy's connection out with him before we start. Are you there, Andrew?
Good evening, fellas.
So you'd have heard in the sidebar, no doubt, and we're just covering Canelo, the fact that Eddie Hearn says that he's due to fight Bivol in September. He's now in camp ready for May the 6th, but obviously he's not announced who that'll be. And I was just saying to Sean and Lee, surely cannot be John Ryder.
It will be John Ryder.
So, like Joe said in the sidebar, are the elders that are getting ready and prepared for Bivol?
Well, nothing prepares him for Bivol.
Yeah, we're struggling with connection again, Andy.
I think I'm having a few internet issues tonight, aren't I, boys?
Yeah, put 50p in the meter, for God's sake.
Nothing prepares him for Bivol, mate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who he fights next. Nothing prepares him for Bivol. He clearly has this been his bonnet that he has to get that loss wiped off his record, and he's not going to do it. Bivol will come down to 168 and do the same as what he did at 175.
I'm not so sure.
It's a closer fight for me at 168.
It annoys me that it's at 168. It really.
Do
really
you know
bloody
what? No
annoys
difference,
me.
because he ain't going to walk into the. Makes no difference because he isn't going to walk into the ring at 168. He's not a massive. He's not a massive.
He's still got to boil
light
down
heavyweight
to
anyway.
it, hasn't he?
Yeah, but
It
what I'm
affects
saying is,
you.
Cole, he's not a massive light heavyweight anyway.
It affects your prep, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I understand that. But the style that Bivol fights, he'll cruise the fight just like he cruised the first fight.
I think 168, Canelo wins.
It's still the same, in my opinion. I get what you're saying, and I think it matters more in the lower weights than it does light heavyweight to super middle. If I'm being completely honest,
We've all seen what taking weight off does to punch resistance.
No, yeah, but we're talking about a different thing with Eubank Jr. there. That's a completely different thing. He's a massive middleweight stroke super middleweight 180. The Ben situation didn't help Eubank, in my opinion. And the fact that he's had to lose that weight twice in a short space of time didn't help the situation.
I just think Canelo's a different beast at 168 than he is at 175. I've said it all along. 175 is just too big for him, but he's a different animal at 168.
I get what you're saying, but he's still the same fighter, isn't it? It's not like he's fighting somebody smaller at 168. He's fighting the same fighter because Bivol's not coming into the ring at 168. Bivol's coming into the ring at probably 175, 180.
But he still had to get down to 168 in preparation.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
I understand that. Do you not think he's not been doing that very slowly? It's not like he's been given 5 weeks camp.
Why should he have to
Bivol
fight
knows
that
what
way?
he's doing.
Why should he have to? Why should he have to be bullied into the payday?
That's the truth of it, isn't it?
Is it though? Because if he didn't want it, he wouldn't have to do it. He's already beat him once. He could very easily.
He's never going to get that payday unless he does that.
No, I understand that. But
he could fight Beterbiev in an
Still
undisputed,
wouldn't earn it.
and he wouldn't earn it. He's not
going to earn that against anybody else, is he? So
no.
He's made a choice, hasn't it? It's a case of he could have very easily gone. You fight me at 175 again, or I don't fight you again. I've already beat you once. I've got nothing to prove. But he clearly. I mean, what sort of a legacy is it going to give him when he goes down to 168 and takes them undisputed belts off him?
It'd be amazing if he did, but
this is what I'm saying. It puts him in a completely different stratosphere. He becomes.
Can tell you've been on training all day. Can tell you've been on training all day using words like that.
Pound for pound.
Wow.
Carl, he becomes pound for pound king, no dispute.
36 pound king if he beats Fury though.
Yeah, but that won't happen. So let's move on. We'll come on side a bit.
Now that's going too far the opposite way.
So Joe says, I presume no title on the line at 168. If so, what's the point? They are on the line.
It is. It's undisputed on the line.
Yeah. And then Joe says, to be fair, Bivol's not a big light heavyweight, but we don't know what he's going to be like when he's boiling down to 168. That's my only point. I think Bivell's a great fighter.
So
I'm a bit miffed
here's
that
one
it's
other
come
thing
down
then.
to
Here's one other
168.
thing. Cole, here's one other thing. Does Bivol look shredded at 175?
Not particular, no.
Right. So my point there is, right, he's got room, he's got leeway there, hasn't he?
Well, I don't know, is my honest answer, because I've never seen him boil down to 168. So I honestly don't know. And I doubt he does until he gets to do it.
Would you agree, though, Andy? It does level the playing field.
Yeah, of course.
Makes it a closer fight, doesn't it?
Because yes, he does have to make weight. I understand that, and it probably means down the stretch he's not going to have as much left.
My problem with
fight
it,
a smarter fight is go on.
I was going to say, my problem with it is he wanted to go up every weight and fight, and he thought he could do it this weight, that weight, that weight, that weight. He came up short in a weight that he couldn't cope at. So, in my opinion, if you've lost at that weight, that's tough. You shouldn't be able to avenge that defeat at a lower weight. It's just the way I see it. I think he's on about legacy. He thinks that if he beats Bivol, then the loss doesn't matter. But no,
The thing is, I don't see him as avenging that defeat. Do you? If he's a 168, the only way he avenges that defeat is by going back to 175 and beating him.
I don't see it that way.
It's my honest view.
Way, but majority of people will.
I don't think they will. I don't think boxing fans will. I honestly don't. I think the only way he's going to avenge that defeat is by going back to 175 and beating Bivol at 175.
It ain't going to matter in 20 years when you look back on the history books, though, is it?
Well, it will, because it will say super middleweight and not light heavyweight.
Yeah, but no one's going to look at that.
I think Canelo's.
No one's going to look at that.
I don't agree,
guys. I think Canelo's ego's getting in the way, yeah, and he's not thinking straight. Because if he gets beat at 168 and those belts get took from him, where does he go? What does he do?
He's ducking the other fight, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Benevidez.
Where does he go?
That's
the only fight he's got left. That's the only fight he's got left, only.
Let's be honest. Is the super middleweight division's not blessed with a lot of big names in it. So that Benevidez fight will still be there if he gets beat, Lee.
If he beats Plant.
I think he'll beat Plant.
I think Plant's underestimated. People sleep on Plant.
So, moving on to the next one, seems we've naturally drifted into it. So, we'll let Sean take this away because we can't get a word in edgeways with Sean. So, Sean, we'll bring you in again. Give us your breakdown of this fight, Sean, and who wins.
Yes, it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I think other than Canelo against whoever, it's the best fight at super middleweight for me. I think it goes to points, and I think Benevidez wins a close one. I think Plant may become unstuck against his size. Although Plant done well against Canelo at certain points, I think Benevidez will be too big, and I think he's got certain skills that will get him a good points win.
Yeah, people go on about Benevidez. He hasn't fought anybody, don't they? He gets that thrown at him a lot while he's jumping in with Plant now. And I agree, outside of Canelo at super middleweight, this is probably the best matchmate you can do. So I'll come to Lee next. And Lee, so how do you, obviously you're mentioning Plant gets slept on a lot. So how do you see this playing out?
One of two outcomes. Either Plant knocks him out or Benevidez wins on points. Because there's no doubt who the better boxer is. But I think Plant's got that explosive nature in him that he could knock him out. It's one of those two. Guns to my head, I'll probably say Benevidez points. But yeah, like I said, Plant's got that capability that he could knock him out.
And
I'm with Lee a little bit on this. I think Plant's a better fighter than he's been given credit for. My jury's still a little bit out on Benevidez, if I'm being completely honest. The problem you've got is, like you've just said, Cole, the division's poor. And he hasn't really got any dance partners. That's why he wants the Canelo fight so badly, because he needs a legacy fight. He needs a fight to to bring his name out there. Even though the Plant fight's the next best fight, that don't even do it for me, if I'm being completely honest. And I think it's a very good fight and it'll be very close, but it doesn't make Benevidez a massive star if he wins.
Yeah.
And I think Benevidez will win just. I get what he's saying though. Plant's got explosive power and it can turn the fight on its head if he lands clean. I see a Benevidez narrow points win.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because over in the UK, we've got a strong tradition in the super middleweight division. But at the minute, I would say this fight doesn't get the coverage it deserves in the UK. I don't think it catches fire in the UK.
No.
You know, because to be honest, our super middleweights are not near world level at the minute, are they? To be honest, you know, name me a super middleweight that you think's knocking on the door. Lerone Richards needs a bit more time.
Well, the best in the division clearly at the minute is John Ryder, and he's at the end of his career.
Yeah,
he's probably got the Canelo fight, but then where did you go after that? Win, lose, or draw? There's not a lot of competition out there.
I think that's his cashing out fight, isn't it? His retirement fund, that fight is. I don't think you'll see him again. So, yeah, it's funny how things change, isn't it? At one time, I was blessed with numerous super middleweights, and, you know, they were jumping in with people like Plant and Benevidez, wouldn't they? But at the minute, I have to wait and see. So, moving on. Andy, I'll let you go first on this one. Joshua versus Franklin, April the 1st at the O2. So, obviously, Eddie Hearn's plotting this renaissance of Anthony Joshua. Decided to take him out of the firing line of a stadium fight. And he's now in Wembley Arena to start the rebuild. What again? Give us your thoughts.
This is a pay-per-view, isn't it?
It will be. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope it's a strong undercard.
Well, it needs to be a strong undercard for people to buy it. Joshua's still got a big name, mate. Let's not beat about the bush. People will still buy it. People still love Joshua. As soon as he starts doing his media stuff, the country will fall back in love with him again, because boxing fans are a bit fickle. And the same fans that have been slating him for the last year will probably jump on him again when he knocks Franklin out, which he will do. My personal opinion is this: Dillian Whyte made Franklin look good because Dillian Whyte was really poor. Joshua deals with Franklin within 5-6 rounds, and we learn absolutely nothing.
And then there's a stadium fight in the summer between Whyte and Joshua.
Does he need this easy fight? Yeah, probably, for his confidence and for his new trainer. If I was his team, I'd have this fight, and then I'd get another one really quickly.
He could have had easier fights than this, though. Let's be honest.
He could have, but I don't think Franklin's all that, Lee.
Well, just a big comment on the side. Andy, hold on, just a big comment on the sidebar. So Neil Simpson, good evening, Neil, said it's no worse than Fury Chisora 3.
Yeah.
That was awful as well. Neil, you're absolutely right, mate. Yeah.
Or Fury Schwartz.
Yeah.
Like people,
they can't throw it back in.
So many props, and AJ is always getting more stick. Always.
Yeah, they can't throw him in with a big name, can they, Lee, straight away, because they've got to keep an eye on that DAZN contract. They've got to keep an eye on that DAZN contract as well. Let's be honest.
It's not just that. It's about there's a lot of factors in him taking this fight. Look at him after the Usyk fight. Did he look like someone who was in good mental shape after that fight? No. He didn't to me. The way he acted after that, he did not look in good mental shape. Now he's got not only a boxer, he's got a brand to protect. Not just him, Eddie Hearn, 258. They've all got a brand to protect. Now you're throwing in with someone who the public are just starting to get the hang of with Jermaine Franklin. Saw him have a good fight against Dillian Whyte. He needs a fight that builds him back up. I think it's good matchmaking. And we say about an undercard, when has Eddie Hearn ever put a poor undercard on an AJ card? He never has. There's always, I believe you'll see Craig Richards on that fight, on that undercard. I think you'll probably see Ellie Scotney. It will be a strong undercard. And I think Joshua's earned the right to have a fight like that. I really do.
Sean, I'll bring you in. I'll just give you Neil's comments first. And Neil says, I still don't understand why Fury gets so much credit for beating Wilder, a guy who's not beat one genuine world-class fighter in his whole career. I think you'll
Totally agree, Neil.
When Wilder jumps in with some of them other heavyweights, if they fight him, he'll beat him though, Neil, in my view.
Then that victory then, Cole, that victory then against Fury's victories against Wilder will look good then, but at the minute they don't.
That's what I'm saying. It will improve his resume, I believe, when he's jumped in, because he'll beat. If he jumps in with Joshua, he'll beat him. So I just think Wilder just needs to jump in with some more top heavyweights, and he'll prove how good he is. Sean, coming to you. Joshua versus Franklin. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with what Lee said, really, and I think for AJ, you know, he all of the opponents he had when he was a world champion, some of them were mandatories and whatnot, but even with Usyk, he never shirked the challenge. He always took the fights head on. And I think him teaming up with Derek James now as well, he needs to fight like Franklin just to get a win under his belt. And then in the summer, yes, I'm sure he'll fight Dylan White, maybe Wilder at the end of the year. And I think this is all ultimately about getting AJ's career back on track and on the right railroads. And I think it's certainly a fair fight for him to have.
So Joe says, it's a good comeback fight, then Joshua versus White, but it has to be a Wilder after that 2 tomato cans. Them 2 tomato cans is more than enough. I agree.
Yeah, because I don't think. I don't, because I don't think Joshua's anywhere near ready to be in a massive, gigantic fight against the biggest hitter in boxing history. I really don't, mate. I really don't. I think he would go into that fight. I would give him 2 or 3. Like I said, I would give him this Franklin fight. If he deals with him quickly, which I think he will, get him another fight in 2 months. Straight away like that. And then another one straight away like that.
Before he fights Wilder. I think
give him.
Go on.
Why not give him 2 or 3 easy touches? Just to get him that bit of confidence back. He's only just started with a new trainer. They need to get an understanding and a learning between each other. And Joshua needs to have confidence in him, because he clearly didn't have confidence in his last trainer. He needs to have confidence in him. Otherwise, he ain't going to get the best out of Joshua. Joshua needs 2 or 3 highlight reel knockouts, and they've got to be against. It doesn't matter in reality, lads. Doesn't really matter who they're against, because it's all about building his confidence back up. And he needs, in my opinion, he should have 2 or 3 of them really quick, and then do Dillian White in the summer, and then depending on how he comes out of that, then think about a massive fight at the end of the year.
He beats Dillian White. Wow.
I think he becomes a world champion again this year.
When the belts fragment.
I think him and Dillian White will fight.
Yeah.
Him and Dillian White will fight for the IBF in the summer, in my opinion. Because I think if Fury wins, he will give up the IBF before he's even left the ring.
It's not a bad shot.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So next subject then. So rumours today that Fury versus Usyk is not nailed on for the Middle East. The rumour is that Wembley is a strong shot for late April.
Never.
Coming from very good sources by all accounts.
Never.
So hold on, Andy. Hold on. I'll come to Sean first. Probability, Sean, out of 100. What do you reckon?
Maybe something like 3 to 5%. I really can't see it. I mean, I don't know if any of you follow the UFC at all, but so for some of the tickets,
for a ticket,
the one, yeah, I think it's like £480 a ticket. So unless they're going to charge something silly like that, it's never going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they've set a dangerous precedent there. They have the UFC, if I'm honest with you. That's the cheapest seats as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coming on to Andy. Andy, give us your thoughts.
What percentage did you give it, Sean?
3 to 5.
5.
Yeah.
I'll go 1 to 3 then. It's never happening at Wembley, mate, because they can't afford it. UK can't afford this fight. Fury won't take this fight, mate, unless he's getting. Well, it's probably 50-50. Fury won't take it for any less than that, even though Usyk's got 3 of the belts. The only place is the Middle East, mate. The only place is the Middle East. Site fees and all that malarkey. It's the only place that can afford it. Wembley can't afford it. Not even with the massive pay-per-views that it will do.
Lee?
What's Fury going to want from this fight?
Oh, sorry, I thought
50
you
million?
finished. Say again.
What's Fury going to want from this fight? 50 million?
And some, I'd say. And some.
Right, so
the answer
then
is...
Usyk's got to have his 50%.
The answer is...
If Fury's getting 50 million, he's going to get 50 million.
Well,
you don't make that from a Wembley fight.
And also... they're going to go where the money is, because why wouldn't Usyk do that? Why would Usyk be any rush to get over to Wembley if he can earn more in the Middle East?
Of course.
So, go on, Lee.
I think you just hit the nail on the head where the money is. And the money at the moment for this fight isn't coming from the Middle East. And that's why they are talking up this Wembley deal, because they want the Saudi. No, don't shake your head, because it's a fact. At the moment, they want the Saudis to come in with a higher offer than what they've come in with. They have not come in with the offer for this fight that they were expecting, because Fury has not got the profile AJ's got. He can say what he wants, he hasn't. And they have not come in with an offer that gets them over the line where they need to be. So that's why you hear Bob Arum talking about Wembley today. And that's why you hear Frank Warren, all of them talking about Wembley, because they are trying to force the Saudis' hands. But
this is just like, Lee, sorry, Lee. This is just like a football agent talking about a footballer wanting to go to another club just so the club he's at will give him a massive new deal. It's no different. They're only talking about Wembley because they know the Saudis do not want to miss out on this legacy. It's the first, and it won't happen again for a long while. It's the first 4-belt undisputed heavyweight title fight. There's no way that the Saudis want that. They want that diamond to say that they held that fight.
I've heard there's an announcement imminent, and I think I think last roll of the dice they are trying to get the Saudis to up their bid. But I do believe if they don't, I think you'll see it at Wembley. That's my opinion.
But it generates a hell of a lot of money at Wembley, don't it? With that attendance. You know, not as much as the Middle East, don't get me wrong, but that's due to the site fees and not due to the boxing attendance.
Got to imagine as well, that fight's going to do crazy numbers, not just here, but it'll do crazy numbers in America as well. Because Fury has got a profile in America, and it's an undisputed heavyweight fight. So I don't think the stadium's the be all and end all of the numbers that it's going to do.
No, it's not, because the numbers get done on pay-per-view regardless of where it is.
It's who's paying the most money for the rights, isn't it? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Usyk's negotiated his own deal with Saudi as well. So apparently that's completely separate, whereas Wembley is more of a split.
So just picking some comments up on the side. Joe says Fury won't do 50-50 in the UK, in his opinion. Joe agrees with your point, Lee. I'm assuming that's regarding where the money is. Neil Simpson said, I'm still not convinced by Fury. Could you imagine him against Lewis, Bowe, Mercer, Mike Tyson, Holyfield, Vitali, or even Witherspoon? McCall, Morrison, Tua, and Ibarchi. How do you think we'll look back on Fury and give him a bit more credit for doing why he's fighting, to be honest?
I think I get his point. I think he's pushing it with some of them names on there. You got to think about. We've said this before. We've talked about this about Tyson's Tyson Fury's size.
The size he is, yeah.
All of those heavyweights you're mentioning there, none of them are 6'9", are they? They're all 6'2", 6'3".
What was Lewis?
6'4" at the most.
What was Lewis?
Lewis was what, 6'3",
Was it?
6'4", maybe. He wasn't a massive heavyweight. He was a big heavyweight for his time. You know, you're talking. Let's not forget, Holyfield was a cruiserweight. He wasn't a big heavyweight. Mike Tyson's the same. What was he? 6 foot?
I don't think he was that. Mike Tyson wasn't 6 foot.
That's what I'm saying. So, although that was a much better era by a country mile, you've got to give Tyson Fury a bit of credit for the fact that his size is going to make a massive difference against those.
And ability. Let's not just talk about size. Let's talk about ability.
He's got boxing ability as well, Cole.
He shouldn't be able to do what he does at that size. Let's be honest.
I understand that, but the problem that I think Neil's got, and a lot of people will have when you try and compare, is that he hasn't had. He's not in an era blessed with heavyweights, is he?
Yeah, and like I was on previous show, that's not his fault.
Yeah, but how lucky have you got to be? How lucky have you got to be that your undisputed fight and your legacy fight as such is going to be against, let's be honest, a cruiserweight? Yeah, I know he beat AJ, but he's a cruiserweight.
And that cruiserweight is the second best fighter in this era.
Yeah.
At heavyweight. Well, that tells you everything about the era then, don't it?
Yeah.
It's one of them, Cole, unfortunate. It's unfortunate he's in this era. Would he have hung with those in that era? Probably, but in my opinion, Lennox Lewis wipes the floor with him all day long.
100%.
I wouldn't say wipe the floor. I think that's a bit harsh.
No, it's not.
I think Lewis beats him, but I don't think he wipes the floor with him. I think you've got your roast into 1990
No, I haven't. Lennox Lewis, in my opinion, is top 5 all time heavyweight.
I'll put him in the top 2 for me.
Well, there you go then.
Fury's.
But all I'm saying is he wouldn't have wiped the floor with him.
Tell me Tyson Fury's up there in the top 5.
No, but that doesn't mean he wipes the floor with him, does it? Just because he's not in my top 5. I'm just saying styles make fights, and I think anyone who says Lewis would have wiped the floor with him, it's poor terminology because it wouldn't have happened.
That's my opinion, though, isn't it? I'm allowed it.
Yeah, and that's mine that it wouldn't. So I guess we're
happy days.
Sean, where do you put Fury? Go
on. How do you think Fury would have gotten against Vitali, Klitschko? Because personally, I think Vitali would have beat him.
I think it depends which Fury. I think if you'd have put Vitali in with the Fury that beat Vladimir, I think Vitali would have beat him. I think if you put Vitali in with the Fury now, much closer fight.
Yeah.
See, you could argue though, Lee. I'd take a little bit of issue with that as well, because I would argue that Tyson Fury would be easier for Vitali to fight now than it would have been when he was fighting off the back foot and elusive, because he's seek and destroy now. So you don't have to go looking for him. So that would have been right up Vitali's street, because they'd have met him in the middle of the ring. That's just to make a point. Vitali was a killer, wasn't he? He was a killer.
Yeah.
But some of the names on there I don't agree with, to be honest. I think we're in danger of poo-pooing Tyson a little bit. I think he could have hung with some of them guys.
He'd have beat the likes of Weatherspoon, McCall, Morrison, and Tua.
Do you think he beats Bo?
Bo was no, probably not. Maybe that's a very, very good fight. Bo was a really, really, really good heavyweight. The only problem is he knew he couldn't beat Lennox Lewis, which was why I never fought him in the heavyweights as a pro. He was scared of him.
I think Fury would have beat Mike Tyson too.
Because of size. The thing with Mike Tyson is, this is going to go down like a rock. Mike Tyson had 2 good years where he was a complete animal and destroyed everybody. As soon as he went up against the very, very, very best, he got beat.
Neil Simpson throws Larry Holmes in the mix as well and apologises for forgetting him. Good
Larry Holmes was an absolute amazing fighter. Again, in my opinion, top 5 heavyweight of all time.
So anyway, let's stop this fantasy BS that we got going on because we'll never find out. So let's move on to current times. So I'll come to Lee first on this one. Quite simply, Lee, can Anthony Yarde beat Beterbiev and how? And give us a breakdown of the fight.
Yes, he can. Will he? Unlikely. He's more durable than the people that have been in the ring with Beterbiev, but do I see it happening? No. Do I think like seeing the odds against him, like it's 1-7 for Beterbiev to win? It's ridiculous. I don't think you can write Yarde off. I think the only reason he lost when he did, and like was it the 10th or 11th against Kovalev, he gassed, which you'd like to think he's more durable since. I mean, his only other loss will come off the back of a terrible year for him that year. He had so much going on, and then obviously he came back and beat Lyndon Arthur in the rematch convincingly.
Destroyed him, didn't he?
He's got a bit about him, Yarde, and I think people are coming off the back of like thinking Beterbiev's just going to destroy everything in his path, which he's an aging fighter and he hasn't knocked out anyone of real note. I still think he's probably got a bit too much for Yarde, but I'm not writing Yarde off. I don't think it's as one-sided as people are making out it is anyway.
And he's not invincible. I mean, he's been put on his arse before, hasn't he, as well? So it's not like he's Superman. Quite a respectful press conference as well, which I liked. You know, there's no smack talk, was there? They just both seemed ready for Saturday night, to be honest.
Yeah.
And same question to you.
I've been saying for a while that I think Beterbiev's on the slide a little bit. But his record stands for itself. He's knocked every fighter out he's been in the ring with. Or he's stopped every fight, I should say, he's been in the ring with. But Callum Johnson got to him. And if Callum had maybe had a little bit more about him in that fight, he got a little bit excited, that could have ended a different way. Yarde's got the power. My problem with Anthony Yarde is that I don't personally think he's got the boxing ring craft to get himself into the positions to land that big shot, unless Beterbiev thinks it's an easy night's work and stands in front of him. Then it makes it for a more even fight because Yarde could land that big shot. The question is, if he gets Beterbiev hurt, what does he then do? Because I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm not sure he's got the ring craft to know how to deal with that situation. He had it against Kovalev and he blew himself out, which is why he got stopped in the 11th because he had nothing left. I would have liked to have seen him have a new trainer call after that Kovalev fight because I think he would have moved on a lot quicker.
Yep.
I don't think his current trainer does anything for him. I know he's very loyal, and you've got to respect that. I can only see a Beterbiev victory, and it'll be a stoppage. If it is, it won't go to points this fight.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I think for Beterbiev, I think to a large degree his boxing skills underrated, and I think with Anthony Yarde, his skills aren't necessarily the most refined, and I can see a stoppage around 7-8 rounds. I think Beterbiev will get the win.
Yeah, I'm going for Beterbiev to win. I think it might be around round 11. I think it'll be a late stoppage. Damn good fight though, and good luck to Anthony Yarde because he's jumping in with him, isn't it?
Yeah, go on, Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, it's a chance to change his life. And then just the final topic of the night. Obviously, Billy Joe Saunders has announced that he's returning to the ring. So I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. He's making some bold statements about who he wants eventually. He acknowledges he needs a couple of fights to get the ring rust off. But then he's talking about Liam Smith, Callum Smith. He wants the big fights. But I don't know if you've seen the bit around Ben Shalom sending him a message about signing him up, which Billy then put on social media. So,
Callum Smith.
Yeah, he's talking about, He's a wind-up, innit? Who knows? I mean, he's coming back into that super middleweight division, I'd imagine, at a good time. But it's got to be good for boxing, though, right? Because
he's a character.
he's got unfinished business a little bit as well, hasn't he?
I think he's got unfinished business in his own mind, Carl. The problem with Billy Joe Saunders is he was never active enough. He could have been an outstanding, amazing world champion. He wasn't active enough.
He's ruled out the Eubank fight, by the way. He's ruled that out.
Whether that was down to Carl, whether that was down to promotion, promoters, or the fact that he just wasn't wanting to be active, I don't know. The only person that can answer that is Billy Joe Saunders. But that's the only thing for me. He just hasn't been active enough in his career. I hope he comes back in here and and he's here for a while, and this isn't just to get a quick payday and then get off again. I could see. I know he's ruled out the Eubank fight. That's still the biggest fight for him. Because if he's coming back at super middleweight, Carl, who's he actually got to fight?
See, Billy Joe Saunders is a very good marketing person, isn't he? So he's very clever with the language he uses. I'm just going to put a couple of comments up in the side. So Joe says, Dev Sahani has me convinced Yarde's going to stop Beterbiev. I hope he does. It's almost mission impossible. And Joe goes on to say, I'm assuming he's talking about Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders, he's a fat mess. Who wants to watch Billy Joe send you to sleep? By all accounts, Joe is not a fat mess at the minute because he's been in camp. God, that's it. Our super middleweight division needs Billy Joe, an active Billy Joe Saunders, in my view.
Here's a question. Can you name another fighter that's had the natural ability of Billy Joe Saunders that hasn't done enough that's done as little with it as he has?
Well, he's held a world title, remember? So let's not say he hasn't done enough with it.
Yeah, but he held a world title, Carl. But what did he do with that?
And he's had a Canelo fight, which would have paid him a few quid as well. So, he has done bits, hasn't he? I agree he could have been more motivated, but it's not like he's not done anything.
No, I'm not saying he's not done anything, but he could have.
Good shot. Joe said Frankie Gavin.
Yeah, no, that's a good shot, Joe.
Andrade,
he could have had unifications, undisputed fights at middleweight. They just never pushed for it.
Well, there's a lot of facets to that, isn't it? He's not the only fighter ever to not push for fights. And, there's a lot of facets to that argument. It's not always a fighter, is it?
That's just boxing.
Yeah,
it's not always the fighter, no. But he's been with both of the biggest promoters in the UK, hasn't he? And his biggest fight is Canelo. Other than that, what massive fight?
Not a bad one, though, is it?
No, yeah, but other than the Canelo fight, Carl, what massive fight has he had?
Lemieux.
That's not a massive fight.
It's a big fight.
Come on.
I think so.
What's Lemieux done since that fight?
And the Eubank Junior one was a big fight at the time, wasn't it? On our shores, anyway.
Yeah, but wasn't that just for what was that? British?
I know, but British style fights can still be big fights. I
get that, but I'm on about since he pushed on to world level. It's just my opinion. I just think he's such a naturally talented fighter I just don't think we saw enough of him, enough the best of him.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I would disagree with it. I still think he's got some in the tank, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm quite a fan of an active Billy Joe. I think he brings a lot outside the ring and inside the ring.
Him versus Andrade is a massive fight. I'd like to see that get made.
Yeah, that's a big fight. I agree. A very good fight as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget that he fought Andy Lee was a big fight.
Well, that's when he won his world title, wasn't it? Against Andy Lee.
So that was a big fight. And then you've got people like Martin Murray, haven't you? Which, you know, again,
I just don't feel he pushed on from the Andy Lee fight. Andy Lee's probably his best win of his career, in my opinion, because Andy Lee was very good.
Yeah, breakout fight, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was very good. He was brilliant against Andy Lee. That was his best fight, though, Coy. He didn't push on from it, in my opinion. But like I say, just my opinion. So I joined the show. I joined the show a little bit late, Cole. Have you talked about Moses Itomu?
No.
So, by all accounts, Moses Itomu is chief support on Saturday night. It's his debut as a pro. It's only a 4-rounder. What are your feelings on having him as chief support?
Are you sure it's not his brother who's fighting, Carol?
No, Moses Itomu is chief support. Yeah. Don't look at BoxRec.
No, I'm just looking to see if that's
I thought it was Dalakian versus Jimenez. It was chief
No, it's not. Moses Itomu's been pushed up the card. It's now chief support.
You know why? Because it's not a massive card, not a massive undercard, and that's when the most eyes are going to be on it. They'll push it back later, so everyone will be expecting ring walks about 10 o'clock, and that's probably what time you'll see him, and it gets a spotlight on him. It's the only reason.
Well, it's not listed on BoxRec, Ander.
I know it's not. BoxRec's not always right, is it?
No, but I looked on BT's website, and they got Carol Itamu, not Moses.
No. It's come from the mouth of Frank Warren, mate. So I think that's probably a bit of a better source.
That'll be why, though. Get as many eyes on him as possible.
I mean, he's making noise about he's wanting to be Mike Tyson's record, isn't he? And they're hanging on to that as a bit of a soundbite, aren't they? So
I mean, great amateur record, lads. Great amateur record, and there's a lot expected from him. They are gonna push him massively, but we've slated other promoters for doing this, and for putting an up and comer as chief support or a name as chief support for the very early fights or pro debuts. I just wanted your opinion. I mean, is he that good? I'll come to you, Lee. Is he that good?
Don't know yet, do we? We don't know.
No.
You've seen his amateur career, though. You've seen what he's done as an amateur, right?
There wouldn't be as much hype around him if he wasn't as good. And he was sparring Lawrence Okoli coming out of school, taking the school uniform off, sparring Lawrence Okoli. He sparred with AJ, Joyce, Dubois, and they've all said how good he is. So,
but let's hope he's as good under the lights only, because we all know boxers that perform really well in the gym, but they can't bring it in under the lights. That's the only caveat I'd have.
I'm sure he will be. But don't expect to see anything anytime soon. I mean,
so Joe in the sidebar said you can't have a one round bang out as chief support FFS.
That's kind of the problem, isn't it? And it will be that if he's as good as they're making him out to be, and look at the level of opponent he's fighting. I mean, is he going to do Tyson and fight every month to get loads of fighters under his belt in the first year?
You don't want to burn him out, though.
If he bangs them all out in the first round, though, Carl, it's nothing.
He won't do it. He moves. If you're talking about getting a belt, though, he won't bang them out in the first round, will he?
If he's
You
good
won't
enough.
see. You won't see nothing for at least the next 3 years. He's going to be protected, 100%. That's what they did with Daniel Dubois. They're still doing it with Daniel Dubois.
No, you're right. You're right about it. But then again, Daniel got found out a little bit, didn't
And
he?
look what happened to him when he got in deep water.
He got found out a little bit, didn't he? And then they had to put the brakes on. I mean, I hope this guy does exactly what he says he's going to do and comes in and destroys the division, because how exciting would that be?
It'd be brilliant. It's the right time as well, because that heavyweight division is looking like they're all aging, aren't they? So he's going to have years at the top. If he starts getting under his belt now, he's going to have and like we know it's all going to get fragmented. So there's going to be title opportunities left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I just hope you don't run into Gary Cornish. Do you remember when he fought AJ? Yeah.
What fight was that for AJ? That was
It was early, wasn't it? It was early.
Was that at Wembley?
It was Wembley. There's a lot of routes you can take a kid like this. He needs learning fights, don't you? Slowly but surely. I mean, you can jump in with him and get a payday if you want.
No, you're right.
They'll be looking for anybody, won't they, to get it?
The thing is, if he is as good as they're making him out to be, and he does what Joe says, and he's banging fighters out in the first round, they are going to have to give him a lot of fights, Cole, because there's no point waiting 3 months and giving him another fight and he bangs out somebody else in a round.
Yeah, he needs to spend time in the gym as well, though, don't you? Like they've said. So, you know, he'll probably learn more in the gym than he will in these one-round knockouts.
Who's his trainer, by the way? I don't know who his trainer is.
No, I don't know.
Be interested to know.
I'm sure someone in the sidebar will tell us.
I'm imagining he's in the same gym as his brother.
Yeah.
I don't know who his brother's trainer is either.
No. Right, any other topics in the sidebar before we bring it to a close? Bit of a free reign. The undercard's a little bit disappointing into the weekend, let's be honest.
It's poor. And this is Queensbury all over. This is what winds me up when people say about Queensbury and what they say about Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Like, Eddie Hearn very, very rarely puts on crap cards. He doesn't. Every time AJ's fought, he could have easily put on a shit undercard, and he just doesn't. He's always put a decent one on. I mean, look at the Fury Usyk undercard last year. It didn't get announced till about a week and a half before. It was shocking. And he Frank Warren religiously does this. And people that are paying to go to these fights, you're not getting it any cheaper than if you're going to see a Matchroom fight or a box fight, but you're not getting value for money because the main event could be over in a matter of minutes. And what have you seen the rest of the night? Nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree, Lee. I have to agree. I don't remember the last time Frank Warren put on a really strong show. He relies on the headlining fight to sell the show, and then he's not concerned about what's happening beforehand.
Yeah, 100%.
So Joe says, I don't care how good he is, young heavyweights need lots of time to develop. It's a fair point.
Try telling Mike Tyson that.
Yeah, there haven't been many like him, though, have there?
No, there is. But this is what I'm saying, Carl. This is how exciting this kid could be.
Well, he's put a lot. I think there's a lot of pressure being put on this kid's shoulders, mainly by himself, to be honest.
Yeah, by himself. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just keep an eye on it as how good he is. Right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to bring the show to an end. The likelihood is we'll be going live straight after the Yarde Beterbiev fight, no doubt. So like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you Saturday night. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the comments on the side. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Andy, for eventually getting here. You know
it is.
Better late than never. And we'll see you Saturday night.
Cheers, guys.